What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just VSN podcast, and today we have episode 90. We are 90 episodes deep, my friend.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to discuss this week, but we still got some more guards news. We still got some more guards topics, if you will, to discuss that we'll get into later, and then we'll also share some sort of sad news regarding the Browns that I'm not really going to spoil, but everybody who's watching this knows what it's about.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get into that right now. Andrew, how are we feeling after this week? Obviously, a lot of weird things have been happening between the guards, the Browns, even the Cavs. Just more of this sort of rumor wheel, like seeing who was going to stay, who's going to go. We saw Garland just got surgery on that toe, so he is out for the next 4 to 5 months, which means he will probably be back probably November-ish, I would say, unless they want to, have him take his time. But good bit of stuff has happened this week. So how are we feeling after it all?
Feeling, pretty good. Just been kind of kicking it, enjoying the weather that we've been finally getting. It's finally actually starting to get nice out here in Cleveland. So we're enjoying the good weather, going to ball games, keeping a close eye on the Guardians. And yeah, as for the Garland news, I think I saw somewhere that he might miss like the first 10 to 15 games of the season, at least. So at least it could have been a lot worse. But to all the fans who said he wasn't tough, you guys can go screw yourselves. Because he played with damn near, was it like a ligament tear or something since March, mid-March.
Yeah.
So he played with it for almost 2 months before the postseason. And I give him a lot of props, man, because he didn't have to do that. He could have gotten surgery, ended his season, or he could have sat and kind of just healed up. But hey, he went out there and he balled and he gave it his all. So I respect him a ton for that. He could have done absolutely nothing, but he chose to play.
He could have chose to sort of take the same route that Jared Allen took the last year with those ribs. Honest to God, now seeing how bad this is, Garland probably shouldn't have played.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel a little more guilty of the fact that I was a little bit hard on him. But at the same time, when you think about the toe, you don't think about it being a major injury. And so when you think about everything that happened, the way that he played after that as well, it's obvious now why he could not cut, he could not plant on that foot at all. And honestly, he couldn't even plant on the other foot because he was probably afraid that the other foot would slip.
Yeah.
So he had to play so cautious, and it was even worse than him having to deal with the jaw from the previous year. So, kudos to Garland for even trying to. And I think people who still question his toughness don't fully understand the player. And also, I guess before we get into guard and stuff, I want to say, there should be a complete total shutdown of people thinking that we're just going to trade Garland. I think the only way that you can possibly think about trading Garland is if the package is bananas. If it is a insane deal where you are getting multiple players plus picks, that is how highly coveted he really should be. And teams are going to call. You're going to hear rumor about teams calling, but I don't think the Cavs are really going to be too optimistic about wanting to move on from him. Jared Allen, on the other hand, it sounds like that is inevitable at this point, despite how efficient he was throughout the entire year. When it comes to the playoff time, he's just a totally different animal, and not in a good way. And I think it takes away from Mobley. We saw that when Mobley was able to go up against Boston last year without Allen and how much he dominated. So it's probably going to happen that way. And it could even see Okoro being out as well. It's going to be interesting how this off season and how the trade deadline and all that free agency and stuff all pans out.
Yeah, and I think they want to get like a true like 3-and-D wing, and also maybe a different kind of forward or such. Because, like you said, man, it's all about making Evan Mobley the focal point and making him the focal point at the center position. Because don't get me wrong, as much as fun it was watching Allen and Mobley together this season during the regular season, where they were just kind of like throwing lobs to each other and all doing all this and that, it does take away from Evan Mobley quite a lot. And especially the defensive side, because we talked about a lot on the defensive side of the ball that, if they both got dragged out to guard the perimeter, like it was trouble. And now this focuses on, just Evan Mobley being able to only guard like the center. He stay more towards the paint, doesn't have to force him to go outside and guard the perimeter. So there's a lot of positives, and then he can get the ball more and do more in the paint by himself, where he could take on guys, like you said, against like the Celtics, like a Luke Cornett and Al Horford. He could battle those guys and take them on much better, much easier. So yeah, I truly believe that Jared Allen and especially, like you said, Isaac Okoro are probably the guys who are more than likely gone at this point. So they can get like a true 3-D wing, maybe make DeAndre Hunter the starter over like Isaac Okoro, and make him kind of like the full-time starter in that position. Because obviously Hunter's a hell of a player.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to give him as much time as you can instead of just him coming off the bench. So I think they're going to focus on Hunter, maybe a backup for Hunter. And then who knows what they're going to do. But essentially with just Jared Allen alone, they should be able to get a decent haul and get some good players in here. And so that way the Cavs are still very competitive, because I tell you what, the East is going to look a little bit different, especially now that Jason Tatum's going to be mostly out for the whole year for the Celtics. Yeah. So the Eastern Conference is going to look really crazy. And I don't think people really understand that just yet, because without Jason Tatum, I mean, we don't know how good this Celtics team is really going to be. They could either be the same, or they could really just struggle to make things happen. And maybe Jason Tatum was the guy who needs to be on the floor at all times and run things for them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I mean, you really don't know how else, they are going to sort of unfold. Like, you could see them without the likes of Jaylen Brown, of Drew Holiday, of literally like all of those guys are not Drew Holiday because he's with Milwaukee, but that white kid, they have a bunch of kids on that team that they could move on from to get somebody better. And yeah, they could get somebody better, and who knows what would happen, but they're in kind of the same boat as well as us because they have two big major contracts. So it's going to be interesting. The East is going to be a little more wide open. I think this is a year we're going to see probably the Magic take that sort of next big step that the Pacers have started to take, and really kind of get themselves in that top 5 conversation, at least in the East. And then you got to think about, are the Sixers going to be better, or are they going to be worse? How is Milwaukee going to look? If it's going to be Giannis or without Giannis. How is Toronto going to look with their new team that they are essentially going to have? And what does New York do? There's already rumor about them trying to get rid of Cat because they didn't like how Cat played defense. Like his communication stuff on defense apparently was bad. But the Knicks have to find a new head coach, unfortunately, which I still thought was really stupid. He's still a good coach, and it wasn't his fault that team lost. His team lost because they just weren't deep enough. I mean, they had 5 or 6 guys to play it every night. Brunson was scoring 43 a night and still couldn't do anything against that Pacers team. So the East is going to look interesting, and the Cavs do need to take full advantage of it. But there's some people that want to say like, oh, they should stay put. I personally don't think they should entirely stay put. Keep the majority of your guys, like keep your core guys, but I just don't think Allen is really in that core, and I think everybody calling it the core four is just kind of faded. Like it's to that point where it's just not needed. Like you can go get a Valanciunas or somebody of that caliber, and you're probably going to get better play, or at least the play that you need out of a center.
And they can come off the bench.
Yeah. And that's what we really need. We don't need both of our big guys in the starting lineup because it messes with the rotation. So it's going to be interesting. It's really going to be fun to see how the Cavs try to maneuver through this with being in the apron the way they are. It's going to be fun, but really don't want to speak too much about that because I still want to talk mainly guards today, which we have been. Shout out the guards, they won today. So thank God, because leading up to this game, they have been struggling quite a bit. They have gone on quite a bit of a losing streak, and I will note that the guards have gone through sort of a really difficult part of their schedule the last few weeks, and it's been a gauntlet. Like they've had some good series, like they had against Detroit. They stole a game against the Dodgers, which nobody thought was going to happen. And I can't remember. Do we still win against New York or no?
I don't remember. Yeah, we won a game against New York.
Okay, so we stole a game against New York.
Yeah.
But, the Reds, dude, they come into town and all of a sudden the Reds, their players just start going absolute bananas against us. Especially the former players of ours just going off against us and Tito just dicing us up. So for us to finally get a win and sort of get back into the win column in general, it's needed because you cannot fall too far behind in this wild card race right now, especially with our division alone being the ones that sort of hold the wild card spots in the AL. So the guards, I preach being patient because it's such a long season. But at the same time, man, you got to have more wins than losses. And when you have those streaks of 5 or 6 losses in a row, or you get 3 wins in 12 games, that's not ideal at all. And they need to figure it out, especially on the offensive side of the ball, because the pitching actually is doing pretty solid. The last couple guys that have pitched have done fantastic. Slade Ciccone pitched a fantastic game last night. He had 8 strikeouts. I think that was a career high for him. Logan Allen pitched a phenomenal game today with 6 strong innings. Bibee even had a good game, and I think Gavin Williams had a good game as well. Luis Ortiz was the only guy that really had a bad game, but he only gave it 2 home runs, and that's not ideal, but he's been the better guy out of that group for the last few weeks. So the pitching is getting better, but the offense has got to follow. And it's such a frustrating thing to watch this team right now.
Yeah, no, it is. And like you said, the starting pitching has gotten better as the weeks have gone by. And guys like you said, Ortiz has taken a massive step forward. Yeah. Bibee has regained his old self again. I just feel for Bibee, just to speak on this point. I feel bad for Bibee in the New York game and in the game against, I think it was the last game against Houston, where he had a strike 3 on a player, but they were both called balls. Yeah. And then the next pitch resulted, like, for his game against the Yankees, it was I think it was like a 1-1 game. And there was a strike 3 on Jazz Chisholm. Same pitch. He threw the same pitch as the next pitch, and Chisholm hits it for a solo shot, for a solo home run. And then the same thing happened against Houston, where I think there was like 2 on, 2 outs. And there should have been a strike 3 that wasn't called. And then the next pitch goes for a double.
Yeah.
And of course that scores 2 runs. And you could tell, because like the second time it happened, Bibee was walking off the mound after the inning was over. And he was like talking to the umpire. He was like, that was horrible. That was a strike all day long. You could look back at it all you want. It was strike 3.
Yeah.
And he's getting tired of it. He's getting tired of getting screwed over because both situations were with 2 outs, both strike 3s, called balls, and then both resulted in runs. Those I cannot blame on the pitcher. That is not the pitcher's fault. The pitcher did what he did.
Right.
But yeah, I can't blame Tanner Bybee for those. But he has found some form again. Slade Cecconi has had a really good year so far. With the exception of the one game he had, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, where he gave up like 2 home runs he gave up like multiple home runs, and I think it was against Houston. But I mean, sometimes those games happen. You can't be perfect all the time. You can't be phenomenal all the time. But before that and just after that, obviously, and this start the other day, he's been fantastic. He's been really good. And like you said, he only gave up 1 run yesterday, and there was 0 run support. It was a 1-0 ball game yesterday that we lost. 1-0. Your pitcher did everything he could to keep you in the ball game, and you couldn't score a single run. And we've had multiple guys on base. Like, I think Jonathan Rodriguez hit a single where De La Cruz bobbled the ball and then threw it over the first baseman's head, and he was on second base with nobody out. What happens? Martinez flies out, Kwan flies out, and Jose, I think, grounded out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you just had 3 opportunities to score a run. Rodriguez did his job. He got a leadoff hit, and that hit turned into an error and got him to second base. All you had to do was just put the ball in play, and he scores.
Right.
That happened 3 times yesterday. Or no, it happened twice. 3 times because I think Kwan walked and he stole second or something. But you had multiple opportunities with guys in scoring position to just get a single, just to get a basic single and bring them home and tie the game, and you couldn't do it. And then today, obviously, for some reason, and this has been a theme, at least against the Yankees and against the Astros and against the Reds, where they'll beat us like the first 2 games. I think the final game we play against them, we'll just hammer them like 11-1 or something, or 11-2. It's like, where is this the last few games? Now, all of a sudden, you want to smash the baseball? Like, grand slam from Santana today. Lane Thomas with a 2-run homer. I was like, where was this last night or the other day? Like, could we just not do this all the? And I think a lot of it, like we talked about with Sean in our little group chat, that not Tito, but Stephen Vogt kind of called out the players because he said we lost our way. Basically, he said we lost our way. We're not playing like the way we used to play like last year, where we just basically went out there and just had fun, and we just barely hit the baseball, and we were just getting basic singles and doubles and whatnot. And all of a sudden now, like, everyone's trying so hard to smash home runs, to do this. And I mean, again, in the bottom of the 9th yesterday, we get a leadoff walk from, I think it was Rodriguez, funny enough, I think. And Martinez Kwan hits into like a double play or something. And then Jose comes up to the plate and just swings at like 3 straight pitches and just tries to mash a home run to tie it up to save the game. And it's like, guys, what are we doing?
I really feel like Ramirez especially does that in the playoffs. Ramirez tries to hit home runs all the time in the playoffs. And I think that's why he struggles a lot in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's trying to play hero. Yeah. And it's like, brother, just play baseball.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing for the whole team. Just play baseball. Like, look at today. We just played baseball and we were raking all over the place. Like, we couldn't just do this all the time. Like, it makes no sense to me how off course we've gone when all we did last year was just, like Stephen Vogt said, we just played baseball. We didn't care about how we won games. We just went out there and just said, oh, I got a single. Yippee. Like, guys contributed in every way possible. And now it's like guys trying to play, like he says, guys trying to play hero ball. Guys are trying too hard to hit home runs when we get into scoring position. Like, we're in positions to score and whatnot, but then guys are trying to hit 3-run homers, 2-run homers, solo home runs. It's like, he's like, I'm trying to tell my guys, just hit the ball.
Exactly.
Stop trying to smash it. Just hit the ball.
Especially when we have pretty solid base runners like we do.
Everyone on our team's fast, essentially.
Yeah, like we have enough guys to be able to, once we get on base, to make guys be aggressive on on the bases and make guys put hits in play. And yeah, I think guys just get too comfortable and trying to swing for power and not for contact. And that was our bread and butter last year, and we have gotten away from that. And I do credit Vogt for sort of calling out the players in a challenging way, but a not rude way, but just like a, hey guys, like we got to get back to to our basics. But my only issue with that is just the fact that it took him up to this point to be saying this, because I think this has been needed for, I would say, probably a few weeks now. I mean, the Guards really haven't put together a lot of really, really good games in quite some time. They've been very up and down. Like they'll have 1 week where they're really good, and then 1 week where they're really bad, and they have 1 week where they're good, but they're not great, and then they have a week like last week where it was just, this whole past week has just been just garbage up until today. And hey, credit to Tito for putting in a right-handed pitcher in, because as soon as they did, they went, all right, Manzardo, you're up, and he gets 2 hits right off the rip, 2 ribbies. Just instantly, as soon as the kid got in, he made an impact. And this sort of leads me into the next debate. It's kind of been a debate on Twitter for quite some time now, with how bad we've been playing as the lineups, and sort of the left-handed pitching lineups versus the right-handed pitching lineups. And the argument being made currently is like, hey, it's either they're playing for the matchups or they need to just play for having their best guys out there at all times. And it's difficult because the whole playing the matchup thing, it's as old as the game of baseball itself. Like this has been a thing that's been going on for decades. So I can't necessarily argue Vogt for doing that, but when things aren't working well, sometimes you got to be able to say, hey, my hands are tied here. I need to adjust, and I need to adjust now. And he really was trying to find power, especially with guys like Noel, who's down in Tro, with AAA now. That's why he kept giving him chances, because he knew, like, hey, he's my power guy. Like, if I can get him back, it'll be fine. But unfortunately, guys like Noel right now are just in a slump where they are not seeing the baseball come out of the glove very well in the batter's box, and it's really affecting his consistency at the plate. I mean, he was batting like, what was it, like 146, I think, before they sent it down. It was bad. And I think people are just more upset that you're not seeing more Manzardo, who can pitch or who can hit against lefties. He can hit against lefties. And then Schneemann, who has just been the better of the 2 guys playing infield, and now they're having Angel Martinez even play a little bit of second base as well, because they have Jonathan Rodriguez up. Now Lane Thomas came back. He has played the last few games. Obviously today he hit that 3-run blast, I think, the 8th inning. So hopefully he can get going. I think if Lane Thomas can start to find his way back offensively, it's going to help him, and it's really going to help the team, because we need somebody to be in that sort of 2-hole. And that's been another thing that Vogt has just had to constantly change up. And it sucks, because, you see the product and you're like, man, these lineups just like, they look like crap. But at the same time, I feel bad for Vogt, because he doesn't have much to work with in the middle or end of the lineup. Like 5 through 9 is rough right now. It is rough, because you're having guys that just aren't playing that well, hitting at the bottom of the lineup, and you're not getting anything out of them. You're getting guys like Santana, Ramirez, Kwan when he's playing. Nolan Jones has been better. Schneemann when he plays, and then Manzardo when he plays. Those guys are your guys that are hitting the ball pretty well. After that, Arias has been really bad the last month. I'm honestly surprised that his batting average is still above 260. When I saw it today, because I think he struck out twice today. He's been struck
3 times.
3 times. Okay, even worse. And you do also have to be a little patient because the part of our lineup with first base and DH right now is flooded. You got Manzardo, you got Slamtana, and you got David Fry now, who obviously we know David Fry was an all-star last year. He was one of our better hitters last year consistently. He was a Swiss Army knife for us. He played everywhere, but he can't play in the field yet, and he probably won't this season at all because of the Tommy John surgery. So he's going to be pretty much our version of Ohtani without actually being as good as Ohtani, because you're not getting that level of play out of David Fry. But you still need to give him reps, but it costs Manzardo reps because it's really hard to sit Santana a lot too, because he's been playing well. He's always getting on base. He's always going to make plays in the infield. He is consistent at first. It's hard to take him out. So this is where the lineups get difficult. And I'm frustrated too. And we did have a little bit of a friendly debate. It wasn't like we were at each other's necks or anything, but it is a fine line of either playing the matchup or just playing your best guys. And I don't know if it's a level of trust thing that Vogt has right now, or lack thereof for some of these guys because of how young they are. But it's been a struggle for him, and you could see he is getting frustrated. I think that's part of why he was speaking last night. I don't think it was just to the players. I think he was speaking a little bit to the front office and saying,
I think so too.
Give me some damn help, please, because I can't keep putting out these lineups and expecting the results when we are, again, as I think we spoke about this last week, we are hoarding these damn prospects and not doing anything with them. Kayfus is still going off. Obviously, DeLautner, you got to get something out of him. He's one of your top guys. You got to get him up here because of his injuries in the minors have been so consistent that now that he's healthy, you got to find a way to bring him up just to see if he can give you something up here, because you really don't know how long he's going to last if his injuries continue. So, and you do need an outfielder. So I don't know, man. Something has to give with the front office as well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, and I think me and you can agree on this, I think all of this just leads to the front office are afraid of taking bigger risks. I think this is what it all equates to. Like you said, you have to take a shot on CJ Kayfus. You have to take a shot on Chase DeLauter. These are guys you have to take chances on. You brought up Will Wilson. Why? Because you just needed someone in the infield, or to just give someone like Jose a few days off. Didn't work out. You sent him down. Great, whatever. He's still raking in AAA like he did. You finally decided to send down Jhonkensy Noel. And for a lot of us, we thought that, oh my God, it's going to be either Kayfus or DeLauter finally getting a chance. Probably Kayfus first because he's been in AAA a little bit longer, because DeLauter obviously has just gotten back with injury. So it's okay, are we actually going to bring up CJ Kayfus and try him out? No. Back to Jonathan Rodriguez, who made the original roster to start the year and was bad and then got sent down after 2 weeks, 3 weeks. For Will Wilson, I believe, in that sense. But it's starting to take a toll that you're not taking a risk. You're not taking a gamble. And like you said, CJ Kayfus, I think, has basically a hit in every game he's played in AAA.
Yeah.
For the last month and a half. And Chase DeLauter has been on base in every of the 14 games he's played. He's on a 14-game on base streak. I think he went 1 for 4 last night with 1 hit and 4 walk, or or he went 1-1, I think, with 1 hit and 4 walks or something, or 3 walks. Yeah. At some point, you have to bring one of them up and just try them out. I get it. because we just talked about it a few seconds ago that, yeah, Jonathan Rodriguez has actually done well since he's been up. He's batting like 3 of 12 or 4 of 12. He's batting like 250, 260. He's been better in his second go around, and I will give him that. He has been a lot better. He's seen the ball a little bit better. He's hitting the ball a lot better. He's hitting for more contact and he's trying for power. Even though he is a big guy and can hit for power, I think he's just trying to focus on just putting the bat on the ball, which has been working for him. And it works for Nolan Jones in that time period of Jones having that hitting streak of just, let me just get the bat on the ball instead of just trying to kill this thing.
Right.
And, I think if he does struggle here in the next week or two, you have to take a gamble and bring up DeLauder or bring up Kayfus. One of them. You have to. I don't see any other way, because if you're going to chalk this season before the All-Star break or whatnot, you have to, then you might as well just give it a shot, see what you have for next year, right? Because I know we've been told that the only exception was probably Travis Bazzana. That'd be the one who would shoot straight up. But at this point, you just have to try someone. And who knows? Kayfus could give you a spark. DeLauder could give you a spark. Hell, maybe both of them could give you a spark, and you could just use both of them.
Yeah.
And
that'd be ideal.
And yeah, I mean, and then you could give more reps to other guys like Manzardo and whatnot. But I think there's a lack of trust in the front office. And I think there's a lack of risk taking. They don't like to take a gamble. They're too afraid of trying to bring someone up like a DeLauder and it not working out because they're so good in the minors. Right. And they don't want to ruin the value of the player. And it's like, you have to try, because eventually what happens if you get rid of him after this year and he goes to a team like the Yankees or the Dodgers and he just starts raking for them? Guess what? Everyone in this city is going to run you out of town.
Yeah.
Because you just wasted another damn good prospect and just let him go for damn near nothing. And now he's raking on other teams, and that could have been your guy out there in right field or in center field doing the same thing for you.
Yeah.
And same with CJ Kayfus. And the best part is, Kayfus could play for a space too if you need him. He also could play outfield. So if Thomas is struggling or gets injured again, I think at that point, if Thomas gets injured again, you see adios to Thomas because he can't stay healthy. CJ Kayfus and both DeLauder can play center field. There's an answer there. And if Jones continues to struggle, I don't know if he has an option on his contract where he can get sent down, or if he's just automatically on the 40-man. But if it's not working out for him, you could DFA him.
Yeah.
And be like, sorry, brother, we tried you again. It's not working out. We're going to DFA you. Now you have an outfield of Chase DeLauder in center field, or if you don't want DeLauder to play center field, you can put him in right or left field and have Quan shift to center.
Yep.
And then you can put Kayfus out and right. And boom, I think that's a solid outfield right there. 3 guys who can hit. And the thing is, you're telling the team, you're telling the fans, hey, we're willing to take a gamble, we're willing to take a shot. And if it pans out, hell, these guys could save your season.
Yeah, very much so.
And for all of us, it's just like, why not? I think we all would have rather seen Kayfus or DeLauder over Jonathan Rodriguez. And we wouldn't have been mad if they didn't pan out, because it's like, hey, at least you tried one of them. And that's all we wanted. That's all we asked for, is that you tried it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And, ultimately those moves are up to the front office, which we've been told. And it's the front office. I'm starting to lose not just patience, but I'm starting to lose confidence with Antonetti. Like, he is just not as aggressive as I think you want a team to be. No. And man, I get it. I get that the guards don't have the payroll to do as much as they can, and I'm sure we have a lot more on the payroll that we are not aware of. But it doesn't excuse this team from not being able to try to make some moves or at least use your prospects the way that you need to use them and get rid of some of these other guys. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you're not going to use the prospects, then you better find a way to move on from them and get guys you can use now, like MLB talent, not AAA talent. Don't trade prospect for prospect. I want guys that can play now. So it's one of the two. It's one of the two. And you're not really going to lose a whole lot by bringing up guys like that. And even more so, once Bazana gets a chance to come back, I mean, shoot, man, he was raking, in Akron. They could bring him back and just send him straight to AAA and say, all right, go ahead and, see how you play there. And as long as he continues to rake, he's going to be the second baseman of the future. And then you still got Brito and even, some other guys as well who can play shortstop. Rocchio has been hitting better in AAA, but he's still making errors in the infield. So there's options. But the point is, the guards just do not have as much time as you think they do because it's not like Jose is getting any younger. And as good of seasons as he's put together over the last decade plus, this is probably one of Jose's better hitting seasons, like overall. Not even just for power, but for getting on base, contact. I mean, he has like a 36 game on base streak. Going. He obviously had that 20 something game hit streak that he had. But he's getting on base every game. And that's what you need to see out of your leader. But he's also 36 years old. He's not getting younger. You don't have much longer with him. Quit wasting these moments with him. And please find a way to put it together and at least make another run at the playoffs. I don't expect this team to win a World Series. I really don't. The Dodgers are way too good. The Yankees are always going to be good because of their payroll. Teams like Detroit, the Rangers at times in the AL just decide to pop out. But the guards, man, you got to make a good run, and you got to make a run beyond the first round or wild card round to really at least satisfy us as fans. But something really does have to give with where these players are at. I think everybody just wants to see DeLauder. I that's the biggest thing. He was the most sought out guy that we had before Pizana. And due to injuries and stuff, he couldn't come up. Well, he's healthy again. He's playing well. He just scored for Columbus, and now it's tied 2-2. Especially after Kafis just hit him home. That's the other thing. is those two are just killing it at AAA. Man, you got to sacrifice certain guys to be able to see what you really, really have with some of these players. And honestly, I'll even make this statement. You were saying that Kwan is still sort of dealing with that wrist. Shut him down for a week or two. And then in that week or two, bring up one of these guys, see how he does. And then if one of these guys still continues to just rake, then you move somebody else down, you bring Kwan back up, and then you keep him. And you're like, okay, great. Now we have people to play. Now you have the options. Yeah. But it's a weird scenario where you're almost either waiting for a trade or, God forbid, injury for one of these guys to really open up another roster spot to have these guys prove themselves because they deserve to be up here at this point. So I don't know, man. It's going to be another interesting thing with this guards team, but as long as they can string together some more wins and stop losing so much, the fans will be able to tolerate it. But when you're losing and these lineups are not producing the way that you want them to, fans are going to get really pissy, and they have been. The fans have been pissy over the last week or two. It's just not been fun to be on Twitter at all. So I don't know, man. You got any more last words before we move on?
I looked it up, and they can't DFA Lane Thomas. I think just because he just got back from the 10-day. But they also cannot send Nolan Jones down to the minors because it's just not a part of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing they could do, but in an article I was reading, they can technically DFA Nolan Jones and or trade him, obviously. And I think they could just trade Lane Thomas, but I think they have to wait a little bit since his activation to DFA him or something. But I was just reading an article that one of these, I can't remember the writer's name now. I didn't really pay attention to the guy's name.
Right.
But he writes for a big sports company. And he typically said that if Jones continues to struggle in June and the Boston Red Sox continue to struggle, there's a chance that the Guardians can DFA Jones and possibly pick up Jarren Duran at the trade deadline. Which obviously, for those who don't know, Jarren Duran has like an 8.7 WAR and is basically on the brink of being an outfield all-star for the Red Sox this year.
Yeah.
And I think you could get him for decently, not like overly cheap, but you can at least get him on almost like a 1-year rental for the season or like a 1 year with an option so he could play next year. But in the article I read, it's like, oh, they could essentially they could just DFA Nolan Jones or replace him with Jarren Duran. And that way the Guardians have basically an all-star right fielder, an all-star left fielder, and then basically it's just what the hell do we do at center field? And maybe that's where you can, after a while, maybe either trade Thomas or DFA him and bring along Chase DeLauder and throw him in center. And boom, there you go. You have your banger of an outfield that can all hit, by the way, because I think Jarren Duran's got like an insane, like, I can't remember exactly what his stats look like. But I know he's one of the better hitters and players on the Red Sox. I'm gonna go look up his hitting real quick, but so in this season, he has 80 hits, 18 doubles, 3 triples, 4 homers, 37 RBIs, 20 walks, 70 strikeouts. He is batting. He has a 250 average and a 1.250 OPS.
Yeah.
So he's absolutely decimating the baseball. Now, it comes at a little bit of a cost because he is 28 years old. So he is a little bit on the older side. I just don't know what his contract really looks like and if you can afford it. But, I mean, if it means giving up a couple so he signed a 1-year deal with the Red Sox, including a club option for 2026, avoiding arbitration.
Mm-hmm.
Duran is guaranteed $3.85 million with $3.75 as the base salary for 2025 and a $100K buyout for 2026.
Right.
So he's basically on a 1-year, $3.75 million deal. And has a 1250 OPS. Basically the same OPS as Shohei Ohtani. So it sounds like you can afford him.
Yeah.
And if the Red Sox continue to struggle this season, who knows? Like this guy said, be on the lookout for the Guardians to maybe not only add a starting pitcher if something happens with Shane Bieber, because that's the other thing I wanted to mention was that we should know more about Shane Bieber in the next couple of days. Because I think it had been after Friday, it would be a full week since his, rehab soreness. Because he was supposed to pitch last Friday against this for Akron, but didn't pitch because of soreness in his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they said he's going to be evaluated on this Friday. So when this episode goes live, he'll be reevaluated. And they'll see if it's something long term or if it's something, that he could be like, okay, you could just rest for like a few days and then go out there and pitch. Because I saw an article and it came out a day ago about it. And there was a back and forth between the doctor who did the surgery. I think his name is Dr. Miter, and Shane Bieber. And the doctor said, oh, this happens all the time with these kinds of injuries. Yeah. He said, and the doctor said, it's really nothing to worry about. Basically, the week off you're taking is the right move because essentially I would just recommend taking a week off or like a week and a half off and then resuming baseball activities. So it sounds like he's only going to be slowed up for a week or two and then come back. So it sounds like it's very good news that he's not going to be out long-term again and that he will be back within the roster potentially by the end of the month. So that's good news still. So there's a high chance Shane Bieber returns. Which is you can breathe. Yeah. But if the Guardians can go out and swing Jarren Duran and pick up that option for next year too, dude, this outfield is going to be nuts.
Yeah.
And you finally have a guy who can go out there and hit. And I think he's another lefty hitter. But I tell you what, dude, he's killing it. He has a home run in the game. He's currently playing against the Red Sox, and he already has a home run in this game. Or not, he's playing against the Rays, and he already has a home run in this game.
Jeez.
So if I'm Antonetti, once that deadline inches closer and the Red Sox are doing bad, the Red Sox are going to be sellers because they bought before the season started to make a run at the Yankees, and they have just not done anything this season. They have been awful this year, and if they continue to be awful, they're going to start selling. And guess who's going to be on the high priority list? Jarren Duran. And if the Guardians could go and quickly scoop him up, DFA Nolan Jones, and be like, sorry, buddy, didn't work out this time. And, dude, if you can get him, maybe transition Kwan into a center fielder or him into a center fielder and bring up Chase DeLauder or CJ Kayfis, we're talking.
Yeah.
Or if Angel Martinez can keep the form he's got going on, we're talking. Like we're all a big smile. We're like, oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Yeah, that's all it would take. Really, it's just a move like that. A move like that can really not only bolster the lineup, but it can also like sort of rev up the guys again. Like I feel like the guys are just in this weird limbo. And sometimes trades like that can really like give you that boost, give you that like, little spark that, the team just seems to lack. So yeah, it wouldn't be a bad move at all. And you just wonder if the Guards are actually going to be willing to do it. And we will see how or if they do it, what it's going to take. But
yeah.
The thing that sucks is I just don't have a lot of faith in the front office to really make a move like that because they're never really aggressive. They sort of get bottom of the barrel guys that they think can pan out because they did 10 years ago. It's pretty much what we did last year. And for some things it did pan out for us, but it's only in the short term, and like we kind of need a more longer term approach to this. So, we'll see how it goes. But I do want to quickly move on. I don't want to spend too much time because we have already got 48 or now 49 minutes into this recording. But now to get to some sad news, some quick news. Obviously the Browns were pretty much saying here for a while that, Nick Chubb wasn't going to more than likely return. And it was something we all had to kind of prepare for. Well, that inevitable thing happened this week. Nick Chubb has signed a 1-year, $2.5 million deal with none other than Houston. Houston continues to just rob us blindly. And I made a joke with you and Sean this week about how I almost feel like Andrew Berry is just like a undercover spy for Houston, and he's just secretly working in tandem, with them to help bolster their lineup while we slowly rot away ours. But it really was something that was inevitable. It was just a thing that until it happened, it really wasn't going to hit us because we always had that little, you know, stem of faith of saying like, hey, we can still do this. And it just never did. And now we have to basically see Nick Chubb not only in a different jersey, but he's also a different number. He's number 21. It doesn't look right on him at all. 24 always looked good on him. But I know for a fact the Browns are going to put him in the Ring of Honor upon his retirement. So that won't be anything new. The Browns will still have him up in that stadium and probably the new stadium by then at this point. But I don't know, man. What are your thoughts about, the Chubb news? Again, we all kind of saw it coming. We all knew it was going to happen after we took 2 running backs in this draft, which are both going to probably pan out pretty well. But, man, I got to retire yet another jersey, and it sucks.
Yeah, unfortunately, we both have to retire our number 24 jersey, which...
I mean, fuck it. I'm still
going to rock it.
Because Nick Chubb nobody's going to give you crap about a Nick Chubb jersey. Nobody.
No, and number 2, he's going into the Ring of Honor. The Haslam's already made that in their statement that they made after he was gone that he's already going to be a part of the Browns Ring of Honor this coming season. So that jersey just has more meaning to it now. But dude, I was devastated when I heard the news, obviously, because Nick Chubb was one of my favorite players when we got him in 2018. And I was so hyped when we drafted him. I was so hyped to watch him play. And he gave us a lot of good memories as Browns fans. He gave us nothing but the best memories. And I still blame Minkah Fitzpatrick to this day. Because again, if it wasn't for what he did, Nick Chubb would still be a Cleveland Brown. He would still be dominating the way he always has. And none of this would even be talked about or a debate. So screw Minkah Fitzpatrick first and foremost. You're a real piece of and everyone in Cleveland hates you because you're just, and you could say it was accidental, but you dove late at a guy's knees and you knew what you were doing. The guy was already down. So he's making excuses, but I was devastated to hear the news. Obviously one of my favorite players is gone now. And I do wish him well. Obviously, I want Nick Chubb to succeed still. But like you said, this was kind of inevitable. We knew that when he did come back, it was probably going to be a step back for him because this is the third time he's torn an ACL.
Yeah.
Because he tore both in college and then he just retore one of them essentially. So he now is on 3 ACL tears. And I just feel bad for the poor guy because, again, no matter how much he can squat 600 plus pounds, it's not going to make you faster. It's not going to make you healthier. I mean, it might make your longevity a little bit longer, but other than that, it's not going to, because all it takes is just one hit. It doesn't even have to be a bad hit, just one hit and it's over. And, I wish him all the best. I wish him well. I want him to succeed down in Houston. He really deserves it. He's the only guy. He's one of the only guys in the league who actually deserves nothing but big success.
Absolutely.
And I think he was also devastated to leave because he loved Cleveland. He loved the fans. He loved it here. And he never wanted to leave. He said that in multiple interviews that he didn't want to leave at all. Right. And I think the gesture we could have done for him was just give him the same kind of contract, was just give him a 1-year, $1.25 million contract. Say, sorry, Jerome Ford, but Nick Chubb is our hero. We love him. You're just a nobody to us. And even if Nick Chubb was the third option in the running back room, and he just went out there for who was it for Miami, Raheem Mostert, where he had like the most like fantasy touchdowns because he only got touches on the football in like the red zone or like the 5 yard inside the 5 yard line. Even if he just did that with Nick Chubb, I think all of us would have been happy. And that's all we really wanted, was just for him to come in, stay with the team, and just, if he got any kind of touch, let it be within 10 yards of the end zone and just let him run the rock in.
Right.
So I think we could have done him that justice and just kept him here like that and just kept feeding him 1 year deals until he felt like he was done. But he moved on. He went to Houston. Again, I wish him nothing but astronomical success down in Houston. I hope he tears it up for them. He really does deserve it.
Yeah, and I mean, he is in a good spot. I mean,
he is in a good spot.
He's not going to be forced to really be a lead back, but it's going to give him and Mixon a good mix of just quality runs. And obviously they're going to use Mixon a little bit more because he's good in the pass game too. But Chubb can also do that too. And yeah, man, I just really hope that he does well. And unfortunately, we don't have to play them this year, so that that's good news because we have been playing Houston the last few years. But to your point, you were saying like F Fitzpatrick, F Deshaun Watson too, because you were another major reason that we had to eventually move on from Nick Chubb because we couldn't even pay the man. Because of your stupid contract. So I hope you step on another Lego and it rolls your ankle and then you have to deal with a sprained ankle after just dealing with your Achilles, because I'm not going to speak too negatively because then bad karma will happen and then bad stuff will happen. But
that it happens to you.
Again, though, I will say, but again, I will say though, I think Quinshon Judkins is really going to win over a lot of fans quickly, and he's going to end up probably being running back one when it's all said and done. You're probably going to see Jerome Ford start the season at running back one, but I can see him sort of taking the Carlos Hyde approach that he had when Hyde was here, where he had a few good games. He had that good game against the Jets, and he played one more game, and then Nick Chubb entered in against the Raiders and went off. And after that, you're like, man, you really can't not play this kid. And I just think Jerome Ford's going to ultimately be the guy that ends up getting waned out a little bit. And I know Stefanski likes having, 2 or 3 running backs in their, rotation, but with Judkins and Dillon say, you said Ampson, they said that those two alone were sort of split back in a sort of T wing offense there today, and everybody said it looked beautiful. So they both have looked great in camp, and I'm really excited to see what these guys look like in the preseason to really get us a feel of how the run game is going to look this year, because the run game has been ass since Chubb has gotten hurt, and it'll just be nice to have somebody else besides Jerome Ford to have trust in, quote unquote. But last thing I wanted to go over before we end it here, there was some news also about a bill in the state Senate that just got passed. I think it has to pass one more time, but we are getting closer and closer to finally getting this dome talk officially done with, because in this bill is the $600 million that the Browns are going to need for the stadium. So it doesn't sound like it's Cleveland that's going to give them the money. It's going to be the state, and that's how it should be. Because there's teams like the Ravens. I think they paid $5 million out of pocket for theirs. The Bills aren't paying a whole lot out of pocket for theirs. So the fact that Jimmy Haslam is paying like 1.2 or 1.3 billion for this, dome build is saying a lot about how much he really does want to A, keep this team in Cleveland, but B, make it a legit stadium that they can use for just way more than just Browns football. And I just really hope that everything passes and everything goes through, because it's kind of given the bird to the city of Cleveland and saying, like, you guys didn't want to work with us, so we went to the state, and this is the result. And you guys are gonna, learn how to deal with this. It's gonna be fantastic. The funniest part was they broke ground in Berea because they're doing more stuff to Berea. I think they're like adding on to the fields and sort of putting in better stands and stuff like that. Like, it's going to be used for more than just training camp. I think they're going to have like high school teams and pee-wee teams play there. It's going to be fun. But one of the people, I think it was somebody who works for the county. They said that while they were driving there to Berea, they passed where it would be in Brook Park, and they're like, I just realized that it's in the same county. And I'm like, yeah, really? You work for the county and you don't know that Brook Park is a part of Cuyahoga County? Like, are we really serious here? Like, do we have people that work for the county in the city that are this dumb?
They didn't know that they were
15 minutes down the road.
Well, it's 15 minutes it's 10 to 15 minutes down the road from downtown Cleveland, and then the facility from Brook Park is like not even a 5-minute drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait for the PBA to have an event in Cleveland Brown Stadium, because you know me, I love the Pro Bowlers Association, baby. And then I can't wait to have some like Grand Slam tennis going on down there too. So it's going to be exciting to see those kind of events finally at Cleveland Brown Stadium, like they should be.
Yeah.
Forget concerts, man. I just want to see the PBA go down into Brook Park, and we could all go down and watch some good quality professional bowling, like we all should be. Because for those who don't know, the reason why I'm making this joke, because I think it was like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, they actually did a PBA event inside Lucas Oil Stadium. Go look it up. They even did one in the heart of Disney World too, in Orlando. That's where the world met. That's where the world met Jason Belmonte at that time period.
Yeah. Like that's badass. And like, so my grandfather, who is no longer with us, but he was an outstanding bowler. Like he was a like damn near 300 a game, every game type of bowler. He was phenomenal up until his Parkinson's really started to get to him, which was, I mean, up until he was in his, mid to early 60s is when it started really getting bad. But before that, man, he was incredible, and he loved bowling to death. And that would be so cool to be able to attend one and just be like, hey, Gramps, here's one for you. But yeah, I mean, it creates so many different avenues of generating more possibilities to the county. And I honestly think the city of Cleveland is just mad because they're going to lose out on parking in the entire city, because they're not going to be able to charge $40, $50, $80 for somebody to park at those crappy parking lots that half the time the freaking elevators don't work. I got stuck in one at a Cavs game before COVID.
Also, if you want to know some parking hacks too, street parking on the weekends is free, so you can find street parking. If you go to restaurants down towards the flats, like there's a place called Flatiron, which is like near the what's it called, Jacobs Pavilion or whatever.
Yeah,
they will actually shuttle you to Cavs and Guardians games, so you can actually park down there and shuttle to those games if you can't park nowhere near the stadium or pay for the parking. They have like their own like little parking, and it's like one of those, like you walk up and you scan the barcode and you pay like $2 for like 4 hours or something. Yeah, and then you could just literally just take the shuttle over to the stadium, and it will shuttle you back to your car. So just some parking hacks, or you could just park on the street for 1,000% free if you get here early enough. So yeah,
I always park at the Renaissance near the Jack, because it's always $40. So I mean, it's not cheap, but it's always pretty easy to get in and out.
or if you want to go to a game this year, you could always park right by my building, in front of my building, and I could literally just, because I live right by the stadium and it's like a 2-second walk from my apartment. So
yeah,
you got to walk very
fantastic. Yeah. Well, now I have that ability, but years ago I didn't. But
even for a guards game, you still have that ability.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's great. It's going to be interesting, but I just really hope the dome gets done because, dude, if the dome gets approved and it's ready to go, you were talking about so much generated wealth that you were going to have from that stadium being built, regardless of what these people are saying about how they're not even going to break even or whatever. Like, I just don't believe that with how many events they can throw, it's just going to be insane.
I swear to God, if they do not build an IKEA near that damn facility, I am going to be pissed. I want my goddamn Swedish meatballs before I go to a game, and I want to look on some couches and some sofas. Bring me the IKEA. There's one in Columbus. We need one in Cleveland.
IKEA or riot.
IKEA or no dome. That's the breaking point. There's no IKEA. I don't want it.
Screw the hotel. Screw the restaurant. I just want a damn IKEA.
I can sleep on the couches at IKEA. They have beds in there.
I'm homeless. I need somewhere to stay. Oh, man. Funny.
Also, before we go, check out our sponsors, Effortless Wins, for sports betting advice and plays to boost your wins. Talk to Tony and Greg. The link will be in the description on Spotify or in the comment on YouTube. These guys are fantastic. They are really good at what they do. Greg is retired, and he does this for a full-time living, and he is excellent. I just tailed a couple of his plays the other night. Won like 3 out of 4 plays. So, hey, if you want to win some cash, go talk to them. They know how to hook you up. Link will be in the comment or in the description on Spotify. So be sure you check them out.
Yes, sir. Yes, those guys are great. And, they're, also just really nice dudes. Like, they're all really chill and, nice. So they're really fun to talk to if you guys ever do, end up and get a chance to talk to them. So, yeah, keep them followed. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. We went a little bit longer than today, but that's usually what we do. We always yap, so can't really complain about it. But you got anything else before we log off tonight, my friend?
Yeah, I'm gonna start a trending hashtag on Twitter, call it a hashtag IKEA or no, like IKEA or done or whatever. Like we're gonna IKEA or out. Like we're gonna start an IKEA trend on Twitter. Yeah. If we don't get an IKEA, there's no dome.
Heck yeah, I'm in. I'm going to do it. I'm in. All right, guys. We will see y'all next week with more cards talk. Hopefully, we'll have some more fun things to discuss besides the guards. And if not, then it'll just be guards. But I know mini camp's getting ready to get done tomorrow, I think. And then here soon, man, we're going to be in like actual training camp, like getting ready to the nitty gritty stuff. So it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of fireworks here in the next month or so. So get ready, get locked, because football season is we are 2 months away from the start of football season. And although the Browns won't be as great, we're still going to try to have fun this year. So we'll see y'all next week. Oh, I'm tired.